Will the Sergeant at Arms assist the new National Commander of the American Legion to the platform? He will be escorted to the stage by NEC member from the Department of North Carolina, Jeff Joyner. All right, now that we've got all the confusion figured out, the chair recognizes past National Commander David Rabine for the purpose of administering the oath of office to the new National Commander of the American Legion.
James Oxford, as we come to the podium for this great moment in your life, I think of another North Carolinian that stood in this spot and took this oath. Ray Smith faced many of the same challenges that you and your team will face as you begin your year as National Commander. He was successful in stopping the decline in membership. We are confident that you and your team will be equally as successful in that very important part of your year as National Commander. Over my shoulder, you see a group of Legionnaires who once stood in your position and who stand ready now to support you as you lead this great organization. All Legionnaires, those in this room and around the country, stand ready behind you to lend their support under your leadership. Now, if you will raise your right hand, give your name where I give mine, and repeat after me. I, Dave Rabine.
I, Bill Oxford.
Do solemnly pledge myself.
Do solemnly pledge myself.
To perform faithfully and impartially.
To perform faithfully and impartially.
The duties of the office of National Commander of the American Legion.
The duties of the office of National Commander of the American Legion.
I further pledge.
I further pledge.
That I will support and defend.
That I will support and defend.
The Constitution of the United States of America.
The Constitution of the United States of America.
And the National Constitution and bylaws of the American Legion.
And the National Constitution and bylaws of the American Legion.
I do not subscribe to.
I do not subscribe to.
The principles of any group.
The principles of any group.
Opposed to our form of government.
Opposed to our form of government.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Commander, congratulations.
Thank you, Dick.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2019-2020 National Commander of the American Legion, James W. Bill Oxford.
Wow. Thank you. Please,
Our love for the
please,
Legion
please
goes
take your
back to the
seats.
fact that
We're going to be here just a
serve
couple
America's
minutes.
veterans.
Before I get started,
I'm excited to have the opportunity. I live in Lenore, North Carolina. It's a little small town, 75 miles northwest of Charlotte. My family and previous generations have been here for several hundred years. I was one of 7 kids. We grew up dirt poor. I mean, that's just the way it was. We had a good life. I knew from an early age that I was supposed to be a soldier. It was just in the genes, in my DNA, just who I was. When Sergeant John Grimdell, he was the Marine Corps recruiter, showed up at my door and says, "Son, I want you." It was just like a fisherman setting hook and reeling me in. My military career started late 1966. If I had not been able to make that transition from civilian to Marine, I know I would not be who I am today. It was just an opportunity that I am extremely, to this day, thankful for. We got through basic training, I survived, ended up at Chulai in Vietnam, joined VMA 533, which was an A6 squadron. I don't think anybody that had the opportunity to serve in Vietnam was what they expected. Got back from Vietnam, got out of the Marine Corps, and within a few months, I ended up as a National Guardsman in the maintenance section of a truck company. From there, I applied for Officer Candidate School, ended up at the North Carolina Military Academy at Fort Bragg, went from second lieutenant to first lieutenant, became a company commander, later became a battalion commander. I spent about 30 plus years in the North Carolina Guard. From the North Carolina Guard, I transferred to the Army Reserve and retired as an 06 with 34 and a half years. I am extremely proud of my military service, and if I had the opportunity, I'd do it again. There's always a bond between soldiers, and anybody who ever served, they know and understand the bond that you have with a fellow soldier. When I think about our next year, our American Legion is about our programs. If we think about where we came from, we've been successful because we've got a great team. We need to look forward. We've got to look to the next 100 years. And that's what our programs are about. We are creating the foundation for the future of this organization so we can celebrate another 100 years.
wonder who that guy was. But that's, before I get started, we need to recognize the fact that Hurricane Dorian is bearing down on the islands and the mainland of the United States. The American Legion is here to provide assistance and help if it's needed. But we need to keep those folks in our prayers as we continue today and move on to the end of the weekend. But before I go too far along, I need to do some introductions. And I'd like to introduce my wife, Frances. We've been married 52 years this past July. I am extremely lucky to have her on my team and on our side. My son, Charlie, and his wife, Dia. Charlie's a plumber by trade, not a plumber like you think, but he runs, owns, and operates a commercial construction plumbing company. His two sons, Isaiah and Micah. Isaiah is he's part of the family business. Micah's a senior at Western Carolina University. And I warn you, if you shake hands with those two guys, be careful because they can hurt you. Jackie's family is, she's married to Mike Carr. Mike runs a boat company, boat repair and sales company. If somebody needs a boat, we can hook you up. And Jackie's two sons are Jagger and Dawson. Jagger's a junior in high school, and Dawson's a sixth grader. Just a tremendous family, I love them to death, and just wanted to make sure y'all knew those folks before we got too far along. I'd like to also take this chance to say thank you to some folks. And I'd like, first of all, to Commander Brett. Thank you, job well done. We appreciate the work and effort you put in this past year. The next thank you I'd like to say is, most people here, or a few people, remember Jerry Hedrick. Jerry's a longtime friend. a mentor, a sponsor. He's not here with us. He passed in 2014, but Jerry started this journey for me a few years back, and I just want to say to Jerry, and he's probably looking down on us, but to Jerry and his family, thank you, Jerry. We love you, still love you, brother. I'm here because of you, Jerry. That's what it comes down to. I'd like to say thanks to Dave Rabine, longtime friend and mentor, for participating in this event for me. And in a few minutes, Jimmy Foster is going to play a part, and I'll give Jimmy a thank you up front. Jimmy was my national commander in 2010 when I was department commander, just a longtime friend and mentor there too. I'll run through the next group pretty quickly. Our North Carolina team: Jim and Linda Quinlan, David and Cassie Shore, Evan and Shirley Thompson, Dick and Sharon Neville, Scotty and Becky Thomas, Jack and Karen Ward, David and Nancy Phillips, Tony and Joe Reale, Randy Cash, the entire headquarters staff. Debbie's here somewhere. Debbie, thank you. Drew Lacey, Bill Richard, Larry Klein, Jim Mayhew, Lou Cook, all of those folks. And I hope I didn't forget anybody or miss anybody, but they have been just a tremendous asset to me as we travel this year. Their help, advice, and time during the past 2 years is irreplaceable, and I can't thank them enough. But changing gears, the centennial celebration of the American Legion is coming to an end on Veterans Day. And can you think about 100 years of successes of the things we've been able to accomplish? And we can reminisce and remember and see and realize all of the successes that we have had and seen. And I'll just hit a few. The original GI Bill and the multiple updates, the creation of updates to the Veterans Administration, the Flag Code, the Centennial Coin, the Legion Act, many, many others. And we've been able to do these things and accomplish these things because we have a great team. And when we think about our team, it's our Legion family. The auxiliary since 1919, getting ready to celebrate their 100th birthday soon. New President Nicole, I know you're here. Look so forward to working with you and your team. The Sons of the Legion since 1932, membership over 370,000, the 46th consecutive year of an all-time high in membership. Really looking forward to working with your new commander, Clint Bolt. And we heard a number this morning. The SAL had raised more than $7 million. This year, more than $400,000 to the Child Welfare Fund. Significant contributions. We have a great team, and we will continue to have a great team, but we need a great team. When we think about all of the things that we do, that team makes it possible to accomplish the things that we do. And I'll just talk about a few of them. Our baseball program, 55,000 players, 81 American Legion players in the Baseball Hall of Fame, started in 1925 in South Dakota. Shout out to South Dakota. But here's a trivia question for you. Who won the first American Legion World Series? 1926, Yonkers, New York defeated Pocatello, Idaho, and Philadelphia. But that leads me to the next thing. I'd like to congratulate Idaho for winning the recent World Series. Good work. Outstanding teams, outstanding play in Shelby. The season started with more than 3,500 teams, and the last 8 great teams made it to Shelby, but it was Idaho and North Dakota in the finals. 2 outstanding teams. Congratulations. How about Boys State? Boys State programs in all 50 departments, over 19,000 participants nationwide. And if you look at alumni of our Boys State programs, there's vice presidents, there's governors, there's vice presidents, senators, CEOs, CFOs. That is pretty fast company when you think about Boys State alumni. And looking at the Boys Nation in Washington, D.C., they typically have 100 senators. They recently elected Louis Avicito from Massachusetts and Thomas Penley from Montana as president and vice president. Outstanding young men. Terrific program. Our National High School Oratorical Contest, over 10,000 young people competed across the country when Patrick Junker from Iowa won an $18,000 scholarship at the national finals. I was fortunate enough to be there. Those young folks put in a tremendous time, or put in a tremendous amount of time, effort, research, and it's first class. If you haven't been, I would recommend you go see that sometime. Our junior shooting program, that's an outstanding way to support Second Amendment and teach gun safety, discipline, and personal development. Early in the week, we met the junior shooting winners, Jaden Ann Frazier from Tennessee, who won the Sporter Division, and Mackenzie Sheffield from Texas, who won the precision match. Both young ladies, but terrific shooters, terrific program. Our youth cadet law enforcement programs in 21 departments, teaching and training young people who are interested in careers in law enforcement and or the military. And let me switch gears a little bit and talk about our Legion Charities. The National Emergency Fund provided over $6 million to individuals and Legion posts who have been affected by natural disasters, fire, flood, hurricanes, or tornadoes. Our TFA program, more than $1 million, we've talked about that already, more than $1 million to the Coast Guard when the government shutdown affected their paychecks early this year. You need to be proud of yourself for that, because that's something every Legionnaire participated in. You deserve it. Our Child Welfare Foundation, 680 grants totaling over $16 million to nonprofit organizations that contribute to the spiritual, emotional, and mental health of children. Operation Comfort Warrior, providing comfort items for wounded soldiers, all great charities that we all raise money and support. But when we think about those charities, there's one special thing about a Legion charity. 100% of the funds go toward the programs, because all operational and administrative costs are covered by the American Legion. All of that money goes to those charities. What about, you're right, we deserve that. We talked a little bit about scholarship just a minute ago with the different winners, but if we look at across the board at the American Legion Charities, the Samsung charity, the $5 million endowment originally provided by the Samsung Corporation to show appreciation for the services provided in the Korean conflict. Since the inception of the scholarship, more than 2,000 winners have received more than $55.5 million. That's the Samsung Scholarship. Our Legacy Trust Fund, set up to provide scholarships with the priority being children of the fallen and then children of the disabled since 9/11. Another scholarship, our baseball scholarships, give away $22,000 in 2016. The oratorical contest, we had an $18,000 winner, a $16,000 winner, and a $14,000 winner to the top 3 finalists. That's a lot of money. Our Eagle Scout scholarships, 1 $10,000 and 3 $2,500 scholarships per year. All of these things that we've just talked about, and it shows who we are, but it also shows what we do. And when we think about what we do, promoting Americanism, that's just making sure America stays as patriotic as it's always been. Supporting flag education, veterans in schools, youth education, promoting a strong national defense. Tonight, we've got soldiers, sailors, airmen, Coast Guardsmen, and the Space Force just started up. I don't know where they are, but we've got servicemen in 140 different countries scattered around this world at more than 500 bases. And we know this country cannot and will not survive without a strong national defense, essential to this country's survival. Promoting and protecting veterans' affairs and benefits. We send Americans to protect this country, and if they are injured in service to this country, we have a responsibility to provide the care for them. That's what promoting and protecting veterans' affairs is about. We have a responsibility to do that. Promoting, protecting, and supporting America's children and youth. We took an oath when we entered boot camp, and I know many folks have heard me talk about falling in on the yellow footprints. That was a changing point in my life. But the oath that I took to support and defend the Constitution of this United States didn't have an expiration date. I still feel the same way, and I hope everybody else does, because part of protecting this country is supporting our children and youth, educating, teaching, training, mentoring, developing our young people to carry on the legacy that we have created. Now, does all of that sound familiar? I think it does, because we are talking about the 4 pillars of the American Legion. That's the thing that's made the American Legion the largest, most powerful veterans organization in this country. But that's sort of a summary of what we've accomplished in the first 100 years, but we are entering the next centennial. I'd like to look where we're going. And it's critical to realize that as I look around this room, we are the future of this organization. And many of you have heard me say that. We control the future of this organization. We are the future of this organization. The things we did yesterday, the things we do today, and the things we will do tomorrow are building the foundation for the future of this organization. And if we think about the American Legion policies, programs, efforts, we've got to consider what makes those programs work. And those programs work by the people who participate in them. Membership is the key to our success and will be. Last year, our membership goal was 1.8 million Legionnaires. We had a retention rate of 86% with 68,000 new members at accessions. But with the passage of the Legion Act, we need to recognize and pursue the 4.2 million veterans now eligible to become Legionnaires due to the passage of the Legion Act. The all-time high Legion membership in 1946 was 3.3 million people. And that needs to be our goal. That would, if we can do that, I'll be completely satisfied, I promise you. But some of the, just a couple of personal goals. Everybody's got their membership goals from the MMPA committee, and we've talked about a lot of those, and I've talked to a lot of folks about those goals. Some of you are not happy with them, but if we keep doing the same thing, we're going to keep getting the same results. We've tried to enhance our membership goals. My personal membership goals and challenge to you, a 90% retention rate. Last year it was 86%. If we can retain at a 90% rate, we will be almost at our goal. Last year we assessed 68,000 new members. I'd like to see us reach 100,000 new members. And with the Legion Act, that should be fairly simple to do. Nothing simple, but if we get everybody involved, we can gain 100,000 new members. Something sort of related to that, one of my goals is 100% CPR submission. This year we're somewhere just a little bit south of 70%. Still a lot of posts not making that submission of the CPR. 100% is my goal. And not a goal we can measure, but something we all need to do and will all help us with membership, increase our Legion visibility. If there's a fish fry baseball game, flag retirement, regardless of what the event is, you need to do 2 additional things. There needs to be a news release before it's out so people will know about it. Invite them to come and participate, help. After the event, that news release should be just as important as washing the last pot. It's doing the same thing. We are trying and we need to increase our Legion visibility. We all know what the Legion is, the value we add, and the relevance we know, but does everybody else? Media and communications have done a lot about rebranding and increasing the visibility. If we do that, good things happen. But think about it, just visibility. A photo, an article, a video, a blog, and use social media. Follow me on Facebook after today. I'll be out there trying to keep everybody informed about where we are and what we're doing. My project for the year, Commander Rystad talked about our Centennial Coin. Those Centennial Coins make great gifts, and the Legion makes a reasonable amount of money off of those. But the Centennial Coins give you American Legion memorabilia. They make great gifts. And I know in North Carolina, we're going to use those Centennial Coins as membership incentives. The clad coins or the silver dollars are not too expensive. They make great incentives for people who reach membership goals or do good things in membership-related issues. After January, our emphasis was shipped to the Veterans and Children's Foundation. And you heard an ultimate goal of $25 million. That's probably a little bit more than we can raise this year, but our long-term goal is $25 million. Should not be too difficult if we spread that out over 4 or 5 years or so. But the ultimate goal is $25 million. As I look around this hall today, I am humbled beyond belief or beyond what I can describe to accept this nomination as your national commander. I understand one thing completely. I'd like to say I will fix the American Legion, but the American Legion is not broken. We have a terrific organization. And I'm going to say, whatever this job is, I will do it to the best of my ability, but I can't do it alone. I need everybody here on my team helping us reach our goals and objectives. That's programs, policies, Legion business, it's membership, it's pursuing Legion goals and fundraising issues and efforts. We are all stakeholders in this organization. We are the future of this organization. And as we think about who we are, what we do, as stakeholders, as the future of this organization, we are building the foundation for the future of the organization for the next 100 years. I hope you're on board. I need you to be on board. Will you help me do that? Thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege.